Well, good afternoon and welcome to the South Orange Chiropractic webinar. Today we have a special presentation. We'll be covering the 6-step plan to managing stress. And with that, let me hand you over to the doctors.
Hi, Dr. Stephen Levine, South Orange Chiropractic Center. Welcome to the office.
Hi, Dr. Mark Roxy. So glad that you're joining us today.
So, stress is a current issue. It's ongoing. And we wanted to identify not only the types of stresses that can cause harm to us and health problems, but also come up with 6-step plan to manage stress. And trust me, if you can improve any one of these areas, you will be healthier tomorrow than you are today.
Right. And remember, a lot of your lifestyle choices to determine who you're going to become in the next few days. So throughout this entire lecture or conversation, I think you're going to find it helpful. And these tips are also going to impact your family members and how each other respond to one another during stressful events.
So one of the things we do on a weekly basis is hand out articles of the week on health and wellness. And it just so happens a couple of weeks ago, and this is available in our office, there was an article that stated that 90% of all doctors' visits in our healthcare system is related to stress. And the first thing it affects is the brain. And we're going to go through several more effects of stress. But we need to know that stress is not only what you feel, but it's a physical, emotional, and a chemical reaction to change, right?
Absolutely. And a stressor is anything that can be positive or negative that urges you to make change. And sometimes change is a great thing.
Right. So when you're forced to make a change, it's all about how you handle it. So we'll tell patients, and we go out and lecture on stress many times, especially before COVID. We used to lecture out every week on stress, but stress comes from you, not to you. And that's an interesting concept. It's like, why does it come from me? Well, let's say something happens. Let's say there's a loud noise. Someone might jump up and say, what is going on? And have a reaction to that. And someone may not react at all and not even hear it. And that's just the difference in who we are. And who we are determines how well what we do works as far as handling stress. So there's two sides to stress.
Absolutely.
First of all.
So positive stress is normally something that's very short term, that's quick. You might have to, for instance, get ready for a workout, and your body, you're getting in tune with your mindset saying, hey, maybe I don't want to go, and you're stressing yourself over it. But once you normally get to the gym, that stress is all gone after you start performing your exercises. And that's a short-term stressor that basically is helpful. It puts a little pressure on you, makes your brain elevate a little bit. But once it's done, God, the benefits outweigh the cons.
Right. And, I like to use the analogy of short-term stress. I spent 10 years with Seton Hall University with their basketball team. And now with March Madness coming on, you see the stress of a team coming together. It's a short-term stress. There's 2 20-minute halves. And what happens is the pressure's on, and that's a good stress because it forces us to produce. If we have a deadline, if we have to catch a plane, if we have a work deadline. The positive side of stress is we get something accomplished, we feel good about ourselves, and then there's an end point. Okay, so stress can be good and force us to produce and force us to have accomplishments. But there's also a negative side of stress, is there not?
Absolutely. Negative stress is a stressor that occurs all too often. It's like a hamster on a wheel all day going in the same direction, never getting off. And it just becomes abundant and compounds and stresses out your nervous system, your mind, and the rest of your body. And that weakens your immunity and overall brain function. So what type of stressor would be something that's chronic?
Right. It's, something that's happening in your life, and it's an uncomfortable situation. Maybe it's caused by poor health, fear, worry, anxiety, anger, relationships. We're going to go into 3 types of stress, but the negative side of stress is what causes health problems. And it's a stress that's day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, and you don't see an end. It just builds and it builds and it builds. And it causes chemical reactions in the body, having the adrenal glands overwork, producing cortisol, which is a negative hormone.
Right. Detrimental to your bones, your nervous system, your muscles. It is shown to weaken even mental strength. So it's so detriment to the body when it's abundant. So there's ways we can combat it. And I think we should really identify the 3 types of stressors that are out there so that we all have an idea that there's physical, chemical, emotional. And I think emotional, like you had touched upon, 90% of all doctor's visits are stress related. So we have to identify those right away.
Right. So let's break down. And I want you guys to identify some of the stressors that are in your life. And if you want, you can label them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most severe, 1 being minor, because at the end, you want to take your 10s and your 9s and handle them first. And so let's identify it. So emotional stress can be loss of a loved one, chronic illness, right?
Yeah, work related. Sometimes people work too many hours. Sometimes people are unemployed. Financial is a huge one today. And it's not just having, no money. It's people also having too much money in excess. So we hear about that way often, and family and relationships are big. You're surrounded right now due to the pandemic, and you're just stuck at home. And some of those relationships are toxic. And then there are relationships that are plentiful and rewarding.
Right. So some of the stress, we're hearing from patients all the time, and they're working from home, and their home is their work, and they're homeschooling, and there's no separation between school, home, and work. And the people that got out of the house and went to work and then left at a certain time to get home now are working a lot more hours in a seated position. And that really has a compounding effect, because you don't know when that's going to end, when a company is going to allow their people to come back to work. How do you separate that home and work relationship? You have a separate room to go to. But so these are all emotional stresses that build people that have lost jobs or lost their businesses. Serious.
Yep. And then we have physical stress, and that too can be affected by just a simple thing called your posture. People who are working from home, they may not be in the right ergonomic setting, and they're causing so much stress on their entire nervous system and musculoskeletal system, which we're ultimately seeing an influx of patients coming in due to just poor posture.
And which chiropractors or which doctors deal with posture most?
I believe South Orange Chiropractic Center right here in South Orange is one of the best places that can help you find optimal health again.
We're working with posture all day long. Right. So not only do we help people get out of pain, teach them how to make it strong and stable, but we work on structural changes to help them with posture. But probably the number one physical activity is lack of exercise, right? Exercise is critical, especially working from home. And when we were out lecturing, I used to bring this article with me that says the hidden benefits of exercise. And I want to read you a couple of statistics from doing the right amount of exercise. And you don't have to run a marathon or do an Ironman, but these studies have shown that the proper amount of exercise can lower the risk of stroke by 27%. The incidence of diabetes by 50%, high blood pressure by 40%, recurrent breast cancer by 50%, colon cancer by 60%, can decrease depression as effectively as Prozac or behavioral therapy. So this was written in the Wall Street Journal about the benefits of exercise. And Mark, all they talked about in here was if someone went out and walked 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's putting on the proper footwear and clothing, and 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back on a regular basis.
Right. And isn't it also true, like so many people tell you, oh, I don't have enough time, I can't commit 30 minutes. And you can chunk it down. You can chunk it down to 10-minute intervals, morning, afternoon, and evening. And honestly, if you don't have time for that, then you're allowing your health to just slip away.
Right. So, the expression, see me now or see me later,
Yeah,
take the time to do it now because there may not be a later.
that's absolutely true. I think also sleeping is a physical stressor, and most people don't realize you need to sleep. You sleep a third of your life, and the proper positions are crucial to better rest, which is on your back or your side. But we'll dive into that later as well.
And we're one of the few doctors that when a patient comes in for an intake, we always ask about your sleep position. Do you sleep on your back, side, stomach? There's your posture. Do you getting 6+ hours sleep, which is critical? And we'll go into that in the solution part of this workshop. And then what's next?
Yeah, the other emotion, the other physical stressor is injuries. And we're seeing that a lot right now with people lifting newborns from the crib or bending down to assist a family member that's sick right now. And unfortunately, because people are starting to go back into the workforce, we're seeing more car accidents because people are distracted by their phones, their thoughts, and possibly their stress, where they need to just calm down and relax.
Right. We had someone in this morning that has been working from home, and because of the nice weather this weekend, they went out and started jogging and getting active. And guess what? Pulled hamstring, hips are out of alignment because they're not used to it. Everyone's going back too soon, and that's what we see when the spring comes around.
So the last stressor would be chemical stress. And this is one of the hidden gems because it's all around us. And it could be as simple as the air we breathe, the water we ingest, the foods that are sprayed with toxins and chemicals. So they're hidden, and you have to become a smarter consumer. All right. One of our biggest topics we talk about is also, alcohol. Right now, everyone's in the beginning of the pandemic was running to the liquor store and buying it up, but really too much of anything is in excess and can cause strain on the body and the liver. So people need to be aware that maximum 1 drink a day is what's really recommended by the FDA.
So let's look at, we discussed 3 types of stresses: physical, chemical, emotional. We broke it down. What are some of the symptoms that people can expect or realize that it's from stress? What are some things that we see?
One of the biggest things we see is high blood pressure.
Right.
People come in all the time and say, hey, you know what? I'm under so much stress. My blood pressure's through the roof. And needless to say, there's specific adjustments and nutrients that we could supply our patients to help decrease it naturally. So it's amazing.
Musculoskeletal problems, headaches, neck pain, low back pain, hip pain. People are on their foam rollers, they're stretching, but from sitting too much, not getting enough activity, the joints stiffen up. You know the expression, if you don't use it, you lose it. So we're all about getting the body in motion.
Right.
What else?
Digestive issues. So common. We hear people are saying, like, I have this burning in my throat where it's difficult swallowing. And that's from stress. Also indigestion, diarrhea, gas, and bloatiness. It's all related to your nervous system and what you're putting into your body. So big part of our health.
Right. Increase in allergies due to a weakened immune system. There's never been a better time to take care of your health, especially what we've been through this past year. People are more concerned about their immune system. So we've invested our research and time to come up with a line of supplements that are immune supporting, but chiropractic adjustments, we've got the research show help your immune system.
Absolutely.
Allergies, sinus problems, seasonal is a weakened immune system. Sleeplessness, not getting enough sleep, and what's recommended is between 6 and 9 hours. We say set a goal for 7, settle for 6, but we need our sleep.
And then you'll be less fatigued if you get the right amount of sleep.
That's exactly right.
And the biggest one is headaches. God, how many classifications of headaches are there?
There's over 140 classifications of headaches.
And blew me away when I was reading Consumer Reports. We're rated #1 for long-term headache relief.
Because cervicogenic headaches originating from the cervical spine is the most treatable and most common. And that's one of our specialties, and not to mention just the lower back. So what do you say we jump into our 6 steps?
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we do our solutions?
Yeah, but I think the most important thing is people don't know what health is, and
It's
they
true.
think they're healthy if they just wake up or if their feet can land on the floor. But what do you think?
So here's a question for you. Would you rather be healthy or just not sick? I think that's a valuable question.
Yeah, so like, of course, no one wants to be sick,
Right.
but I truly want to be healthy.
Right, which means you got to be proactive.
Right.
You just can't say, how do you feel? Oh, I feel fine. Doesn't mean you're healthy.
Right. So that means I should actually get a checkup before I have a pain or a problem or possibly a heart attack.
Be proactive. So World Health Organization, 1929, has a definition for health.
Mhm.
Remember what that was?
Oh my God, that's going way back. So
You weren't around then.
no, you want to read it or let me?
So health is a state of complete physical, mental, and here's the key part, social well-being. Guess what we've lost over the last year? They've taken social well-being away from us, and that's a critical component of health. But it also says it's not merely the absence of disease or infirmities. So just because you're symptom-free does not mean you're healthy. And that's a definition from the 1920s.
Yeah,
How
and
about that?
that's amazing. And one of the things, like, think about the hamster wheel. Healthcare is been doing the same thing since the early 20s, 30s, 40s. So what's the statistic out there where we were statistically as a healthy nation?
So 35 years ago, we were 29th as a healthy nation.
Wow.
And 20 years ago, we were 37th as a healthy nation. And I just read recently in this book, The 100-Year Lifestyle, which we're all going to be in, that we are now 51 as a healthy nation. So
Unbelievable.
we got a track record in this country of being unhealthy.
But don't we spend the most money out of any country on health and wellness?
Right.
And we also consume more drugs than all the other countries combined, but we're still going towards 51.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Right.
So stay on the same track, get the same results, or take the 6 steps to stress management.
Right.
Yeah, so let's do that together.
So what would be the first thing?
Well, one is better eating habits. And, when we are out talking to kids at their schools, the thing we say is eat foods with one words in them, such as carrots, apples.
Right. One ingredient.
One ingredient.
One ingredient.
One
foods.
ingredient.
But also, it's better to be organic.
Mhm.
Okay. There are multiple pesticides and neurotoxins that are sprayed on conventional fruits and vegetables. You can look up on the internet the Dirty Dozen or the 12 fruits and vegetables that have the highest toxicity, and those are the ones you should be purchasing organic. But as far as better eating habits, one thing we miss is how important hydration is.
So important because our body's close to 80% of water, and so is our brain. So we need plenty of water. So the actual numbers, when I ask people, they come up with so many different quotas. It's really take your body weight, divide it by 2, and that gives you how much water you should be drinking properly every day in ounces. So if I'm 180 pounds, I should be drinking 90 ounces of water each and every day to get proper hydration.
Right. So half your body weight in ounces, and that comes from the American Academy of Sports Physicians as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next is consistent daily exercise.
Yeah, we talked briefly about this. If you don't have 30 minutes to just walk, you could chunk it down to 10 minutes. If you want to step it up, you can walk slowly and then progress to a jog and then walk again. Studies have shown that these fluctuations help to actually burn more calories than just jogging or running alone. So there's ways to do it. And I think most importantly is we have exercises. We have tons of exercises,
Right.
Tons of stretches. And where can you find it is at www.southorangechiropractic.com under our blogs, where you can find all this with some videos as well.
That's right. When we talked about staying fit while you sit, right? You go to our blog and we did how to stay fit while you sit. We went through some basic exercises there. But one thing about exercise is not only flexibility and stretching, right? Some aerobic and also weight training, endurance.
It's necessary, so necessary. If you do some weight training, one is it's so beneficial to the musculoskeletal system by building up deeper volumes of bone minerals, And also, as we age, we are going to lose some of our muscle mass. So it's important to put on the weight now, guys, and get out there and move. And it also shows that it burns more calories, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
And then one thing with exercise most people forget is breathing.
Right.
How important is breathing? Most of us breathe from what part of our body? The apical part of our chest, and we forget to really
Taking some deep breaths, because we're
Yeah.
top breathers. We only use the
Absolutely.
top third. So the lung is a muscle. And again, we want to take full breaths to expand our lungs. And that's where exercise is fully important.
Excellent.
So we got eating and drinking water, exercise. What's number 3, Mark?
It's get plenty of rest.
Right. Sleep.
Sleep.
So the secret formula for helping you get a good night's sleep, and we can go through this with anyone in more detail, but make sure the room is cool, in the 60s, dark. Take an inventory of all the little LED lights in your room. Sometimes if you're a sensitive sleeper, the little lights from your smoke detector, from your cable TV, from your cell phone, from your alarm clock. You want to keep all the electronics away. So the room should be cool, dark, and quiet. Okay, so the darker it is and the cooler it is, the better you're going to sleep.
Yeah, and stay off that technology, especially the news, at least an hour before go to bed.
Right.
You don't want your entire brain revved up thinking about all the stress that's out there.
Get
right
off
now.
the computer, get off your cell phone at least an hour, 2 hours ideally before bed.
Yeah. And isn't it true? Like, you shouldn't keep your cell phone right next to your bed all night, buzzing information back and forth. If you're going to do that and you're using it as an alarm, why don't you just put it on airplane mode? It eliminates a lot of the electrostatic frequencies that are coming through. So I think that's some good tips right there.
Right. And don't eat. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. If you have a full belly, your body is going to its digestion. And, at least an hour to 2 hours before bed, no alcohol, no tobacco, no heavy foods.
Right. And then one of the things we found beneficial, especially our patients, is so many people are on different types of medications to put them to sleep. We found a couple essential vitamins to be such life-changing to get these people sleeping. So CBD oil, what's the other product that we
Magnesium.
use? Magnesium. There's so many things out there, and we have them here in our office, and they're actually things that we use too that I always share with patients so they get the best outcome possible.
Right. The CBD has worked great for many of our patients. So we've got better eating, exercise, getting plenty of sleep. What else?
And now proper posture.
Proper posture.
I think we've had really good posture this whole entire event.
Yeah, I think so too. And, so posture is important because what happens is when you're slumped over in a struggling posture all day long, you're compressing the discs in the spine, you're compressing the airway, you're getting poor circulation to the brain, your muscles are tightening up. So we always want to think about keeping your shoulders back, keeping your chin parallel to the floor, get out of that slouch position. And again, check out our blog on our website because we talked about staying fit while you're sit. And cell phones are a killer for posture because so many people are bent over like this, and you're going to stay that way for a long time if you keep doing it.
Absolutely. And posture is linked to your longevity. It's linked to digestive issues. It's linked to even positive mental attitude, regurgitation of information. So if you want your kid just to be, I think it's 10 or 12% better in school performance, start evaluating his or her posture. That's something we do here all the time.
Right. Yeah, we do a posture scan on our patients.
Very well. Which is important.
All right. What's next?
This is one of my favorite positive, happy attitude. You got to start your day with thankfulness and gratitude because life is not a gift. And a lot of us take for granted all the greatness that we have in our life. And there's always somebody else out there that's having a harder, more deeper troubles than you are. So just be thankful and be grateful for everything that God has given to us.
Right. So many times we put energy into things we cannot change. Right? If it's raining, it's raining. All right. What are you going to do? If it's cold, it's cold. Let's do things that we can change.
Absolutely.
And take that worry time and maybe put it into doing some core exercises or going for a walk. But start a journal and write everything you're grateful for because it's tough to be in worry when you're in gratitude.
And one of the things I do is because we all have busy days, but if we could just conquer a few of them right away as soon as we wake up, that's a great thing. So what I do every night before I go to bed is I write down at least 5 or 6 things that I know I need to do immediately in the morning. And I call them wins. As soon as I'm up, I'm just boom, checking them off. And that's just a way to set yourself up for success instead of more worry. So writing things down is beneficial so that you have a way to implement, I guess, a road to your goals.
So remember, the quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your life. And nothing has any meaning but the meaning that you give it. So we all think differently. Why not think positively?
Absolutely.
Why not be happy? Happiness is a choice.
Perfect. And what I think is find friends that are positive influencers and get yourself away from those negative people, because they're not going to solve any of your problems, but maybe entrap you in theirs. So your circle of influence determines who you're going to be, not only today, but for the rest of your life.
Sometimes it's time to get rid of stale relationships.
We've been there before. So,
right? So now we got 5 steps already, right? Eating, exercise, plenty of rest, good posture, good mental attitude, and the last one, which we think is vitally important.
One of the most exciting parts of our body, the thing that makes us jump, talk, think, create new cells. And there's 24 trillion cells in our body. And that one system that's responsible for everything is called your nervous system. And most people don't really get it checked ever, do they?
No, they don't. And when we do a checkup with thermal imaging and we check the spine, we're checking not just your nervous system, because the nerves will give you a reflection of every body system, every body part, and how functional it is,
right,
based on how that scan turns out. So, every cell, tissue, and organ comes from your nervous system.
Nervous system. And then every physical, emotional, and chemical stressor causes something to go through your nervous system and can shift areas out of alignment, tighten up that musculoskeletal system, weaken your immune system, weaken your mental status, and ultimately bring you out of your game or your comfort zone. So
I think we covered it pretty well, don't you?
I think we did too.
So benefits of managing the stress. Why should I do any of these things?
Absolutely. Well, we all want to live longer with stronger immune systems to help us fight diseases.
Right. Lower risk of heart disease.
Yep.
Lower blood pressure.
I greatly feel that if we have a stronger, healthier body, we can improve our relationships, not just at work, but more importantly, our families, which are the most important.
And reduce burnout,
Yeah.
both home and at work.
Right. And you hear it all the time. People are feeling burned out. And then the other experience is when you're healthy, you have an increased productivity and awareness because there's blood and there's nerve supply going to and from your brain, and it's communicating to your body effortlessly. And that's what we do as chiropractors. We allow that flow of energy to take place each and every day. So you are on your game, living your lifestyle, not being a spectator on the sidelines.
I think I learned a lot today.
I think I did too. And I had a good time just sitting here chatting.
So I think we can open it up to questions if there are any.
Yeah, we've got a few questions here. So thank you very much, doctors. It was really informative. Our first question is, which organic fruits are the best to purchase?
Yeah,
well, I think the green leafy vegetables, I think some of the top of the list is like spinach and celery. These are highly sprayed with neurotoxins. Strawberries, I think, are some of them.
Yeah, strawberries, blueberries, raspberry. Those are your essentials because they're sprayed so much with pesticides. So you want to stick to that. Things that have peels on them, like bananas, really not a necessity.
Right, the thick-skinned fruits, you can purchase traditionally.
Right. But your apples, your berries, your pears, those are the things you really want to make sure you buy organic because they're heavily sprayed. And if you can't buy it organically, the next best step is seasonal right, from your local farmers, because studies show it's much healthier.
Excellent. Great. Next question is about actually short-term stress. So the question is, can short-term stress actually help our bodies, or is all stress bad?
Well, like we said in the beginning, a short-term stress because it's short term, it has a deadline. It's not emotionally breaking you down. You either, you come up with solutions on how to handle it, you rise to the occasion, but there's a deadline, so it's going to go away.
Great. We've got it. This question sounds like a bit of a fan question, but I'll ask it for you. How do you guys both relieve stress, specifically at work? So I know you mentioned writing down in the journal before you go to bed, but what happens if you're at work, and you have to keep performing, but you're finding that you're getting really, really stressed out at work? Do you have any tips for in the moment?
Well, that's a tough one to answer because we love what we do. We love coming to work. We have fun changing lives. But one tip is breathing. Taking a little break and count your breaths. So if you inhale for a 4 count and exhale for an 8 count, and then change that after a couple repetitions and inhale for a 6 and exhale for 12, you're resetting your brain. You're getting oxygen to your system. It's almost like a mini meditation.
Sounds great.
Beautiful. Last question here. If I am stressed, what does a first visit look like at your clinic? So could you walk the folks through what it would be like to come to your clinic for the first time?
Yeah. So if you're coming to our clinic, one is we're going to have a intake form for you to fill out. After that, you're going to meet with us and have a thorough consultation so we can find out what your goals are. It's really important for us to dive deep into why you're here. What are you searching for? What do you want to accomplish? Because everybody has a different goal and an outcome they're looking for. After that, we're going to guide our patient into the next room to do a thorough chiropractic, neurologic, orthopedic evaluation, where we're putting you through a series of over 36 tests, figure out how you move, how you look, and isolate exactly where the problems are. And we also use that thermal technology we talked about before. If you're not familiar with it, it's a thermal camera that goes deep into the nervous system to measure how much irritation's on the nerves, and also checks the tone of the muscles, which is important, in the balance, so that we can see which side's the T. And again, your nervous system controls everything, so it's an intricate part of what we do. And I feel we get great outcomes once we know all the information. Also on site, we have digital X-rays, which are hospital grade in quality, where we take right here. And after that, we're going to give you some home care instructions. And that allows us at least one day to go through everything thoroughly, which I feel will be able to give us enough time to answer all of your questions on your next visit. And we also give you home care instructions, because a lot of times people just don't wake up and say they got to go to the chiropractor. They usually have been going elsewhere, getting poor results, doing the same thing, and never really getting a solution. And that's what we want for you, most importantly, is a solution to your problem, so that you don't have to keep looking over and over again for better outcomes.
It's important to have certainty, and we feel that knowing exactly what the problem is, where it is, and how bad it is before we do anything gives us a certain degree of knowledge, knowing what the results are going to be. We want to, we're results-based, we want outcomes, but we need the knowledge, and having that technology allows us to do that. Right?
That's great.
That's great. That is all the questions that have come in today. Do you have any last words before we wrap up the webinar?
Well, we're excited to help people and change lives. We feel if yours is a chiropractic case, we can tell you. If not, we can tell you that too with absolute degree of certainty. And we look forward to answering more of your questions and helping people achieve a healthier and more productive life.
Absolutely. And one of the things we do for people who might be on the fence and they're curious about what we do, it doesn't cost you anything to just come to schedule an appointment to talk to us, to consult with us. Because like Dr. Levine said, if yours is a chiropractic case, we'll let you know. And if not, we'll tell you that too. Right. So you're with the best healthcare professional possible to solve your goals.
Beautiful. And with that, folks, we have the phone number and the website up on the screen today, right in front of you. So please take advantage of the offer today. And thank you very much for joining us.